Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining me on a Monday this time for the Treat Show. This is episode 57, and I am very excited about this episode. I've been waiting a long time to talk about Rare Dankness and my experience working with the crew there. Because it honestly is just such a heartfelt thing for me. So tonight I'm going to go through some old pictures and just talk about kind of like what that job really entailed to even get hired at and the beginning phases of it, even for myself, of just watching them become a facility online from afar. And then to being able to be one of the first people to work at the facility was amazing. But yeah, before we dive into it though, it has been too long. So I had to miss the show yesterday because of the Nuggets game, which those watching Gerhardt, you know it was a sad day for me. Really sad. I couldn't even look at my phone to text back people to talk about the game. Let's just skip it now, actually. So, aside from that, Ty Van Horn, it's super good to see you. Russell, Rosin Dogs, Kush Cat Grow. Michelle, I hope to see you in here. You might not be in here yet. Wesley Pipes, so good to see you. Grow the Mo. Stutter. Mr. Leal. Grow the Mo. Gerhardt. Yes. Ty Van Horn, I miss you more. Okay, wait, before you leave. So if I start right here. Okay. Thank you. All right, we got the crew. Oh, dollar. All right, I'm lighting the blunt. Everybody get comfortable. You got to light up what you've got too. This is going to be a long one probably. Or I'll try to make it short. I don't know. Jeff, how you doing? I hope you're having a good day. Thank you so much for joining, Buzz Swan. Laszlo, I know you never get to see the lives, but I really appreciate your comments more than anything on all the shows, and you just always have my back, and I love you so much, and I look forward to what you say on Mondays when you listen to the show. So thank you so much. Future Cannabis Project as well. I have missed you, squad. I hope you guys are doing awesome. Yeah, I appreciate those that comment on that show as well, because I feel like it's a little quieter on that side. We need to get more love over there. I don't know. I love you guys all the way around. So let's just do this. So Rare Dankness, a little backstory before I show you guys these pictures, is those that don't know who Rare Dankness is they've been around forever. As like Scott Reach is like a phenomenal breeder. I'd say Archive and DNA Genetics and Rare Dankness are really, I don't know, this trifecta of power in the game as far as breeding and scale, and I would say like really creating genetics that we've all smoked and like really cherished throughout time. Dark Horse as well, gotta shout them out. But Moonshine Haze is, I don't know, those who have smoked Moonshine Haze or Ghost Train Haze, pretty popular by Scott. I feel like, what are some, Leroy OG? There's a lot, honestly, but you guys tell me if you guys are familiar. So when Scott, Rare Dankness, came to Denver, Scott had grown for other companies and things and like had been breeding for years, lived in a small spot in the mountains and whatnot. But Denver, he wanted to build the first indoor facility of cannabis. All bullshit aside, all people that say this, all stories. So he wanted to build the first indoor facility that was the largest in the world for indoor cannabis. So it was like, I want to say it was an acre of flowering product of indoor though, which is like pretty phenomenal at the time. So it was a 60,000 square foot warehouse. I guess 3,000-ish of that, a little bit less, was the dispensary side. The rest was actual like grow and canopy space. You guys will get to see some of it. Yeah, so it was like really big. Nobody had done it yet. And I know people will say that they've done it yet. I know there's a lot bigger facilities now and things like that. But at the time, it was the first. And so when they were building this facility, they were so like stringent on who they were going to bring on the team. But like the cannabis industry in Colorado had already been around. Like Scott was already in it in the medical scene. So at that point, let's just say 7 or 8 years, they had been doing this like in between of medical and recreational weed and cannabis and running facilities, but they were a lot smaller. So Scott organized this as like any grower's dream job because he was like, I'm going to value all my employees. I'm going to pay them better than everybody else in the industry. I'm going to hire the best. We're going to cultivate this mass scale, and we're going to have this high-end dispensary that has all the most bougie connoisseur products and in-house production of the like highest quality. Yeah, and it was going to be phenomenal, right? And so we had to compete. Nobody believes me when I say this, but anybody that actually was a part of my life at this time or worked with me at other jobs, I could not stop talking about how I was going to get this job. The second I found out they were hiring for this facility for a head grower and compliance officer, I was like, I need this job. So anyways, they made us like apply like normal and you had to submit your resume. And the weird part that a lot of people don't know, and I don't want to go into a lot today, is I had been like a really competitive grower at commercial scale earlier in the industry for years. And so I had competed against Scott and a couple of like these other companies, and Scott and I were really familiar with each other as far as like quality and competing in these competitions. I had placed a couple times next to them and like things like that. And so I felt like we knew that we wanted quality, and I had a lot of experience as far as like scale compared to like a lot of, I'd say, people at that time, like quality production with a high volume. And so what they said is they were like, we're going to choose from the top 2,500 people in the world. And as a female at the time, like, I don't like to get too much into this too. And I know people, it drives you crazy to be like, oh, I'm a girl. And this was harder. But honestly, it was really a difficult position to get as is. And then I feel like as a lady, a lot of people were like, you're never going to get this job. And so, and this was at a time that like, there wasn't like a lot of female cultivators. I would say like 2. And so anyways, we go through, they're like the top 2,500 in the world. They choose 10 people that actually go through this interview process of like in person. So it took at this point to even get chosen. It's like, it took about 1.5 years for even them to sort through resumes and like everybody's background. And then I remember coming in and you had to, like, the facility wasn't even built yet. They had purchased a building, like basically using the framework, but inside had not, it was all being demoed. So it was cool because I think when they knew that they were going to choose you for this position is they started like creeping in little pieces of like being able to see the facility, but it wasn't much. And they were very like quiet, except for Instagram, about like you couldn't take photos there. It was just very strict, it was just very strict from what I remember. And the actual test, you had to take a test when you got there on like some basic things like with biology, or I wouldn't even say like chemistry, but like just basic scale and commercial cultivation like knowledge, I guess. And so you take this test, we go through this process. So anyways, it took like 40 interviews, and I am not exaggerating, like 40 interviews, 2 years to get hired before the facility was even finished. And I was one of Rare Dankness's first hires to run the facility and compliance officers. And it was super exciting. It was super exciting. I don't think I've ever tried so hard to get a job in my life. And it was definitely my dream position. Like, I was like, I'm going to die at this facility. And there was a couple people. Rugburn is Scott's right-hand man. They've worked together for almost 20 years at that point. And I think Rugburn is awesome. He's like a pretty quiet person. I think it'd be hard to get him on a podcast. I have tried. But phenomenal grower and breeder. And so it was him and then this guy, Mike. Not crazy about, never will be, but he had gotten hired actually for experience from Disney World, though. This is cool, is Priva irrigation is what Disney World uses to operate all of their plants and, I mean, their drip system, to operate all of their landscapes and things. And so Mike was an exposed like person there. I found out later working with Priva is that you're not allowed to work with the equipment directly. Is all warranted and certified under them. Those that have used like Argus controllers or some of these things in the past. This facility is ran off of an Argus controller and a lot of other things, but Yeah, you can't really mess with them. It's kind of like buying a brand new car. You can't mess with it. Otherwise you void out the warranty. So it's interesting as we really got to learn this together. They would come in and they would kind of show you from a distance what they were working on, but we ourselves were not really allowed to mess with this. But our drip lines. So you'll see in some of these photos, one thing I really appreciated about Scott is he was using Netafim and Floraflex. So you guys will see. Let's just start opening some of these bad boys. Okay. So yeah, these are taken from Scott's Instagram early on. These are just screenshots literally that I saved while I was waiting for my hopes and dreams. So this part of the facility is actually, I want to say it's the upstairs flower room. Let's see. Doesn't tell you. But you can't really see how large this is yet. This is a really, really big facility. Like I said, I'll try to give you like rough square footage as we go through the rooms. The facility was designed incredibly well because Scott is a breeder, and so there was rooms that were actually made for sativas and indicas and hybrids and a tissue culture propagation room, and I mean just anything you could honestly like dream of. I think as a breeder, there's like a pollen spot, like yeah, all these came from seed, allegedly in the beginning. There's some compliance stuff that's weird with that. So let me zoom. Well, let's just go to the next one because this one's not that exciting. And then you guys tell me if I need to slow down at any point. X. You know how I get with these things sometimes. Yeah, just some more construction. Pamela is Scott's wife. And, you know, I will say they had never hired another female, like head grower or something before me. But I will say that Pamela, his wife, is a huge, huge part in his business. And what they created here. And so if you guys ever see Pam online, she's a very tough woman. That those who know Pamela, she's like a no bullshit gal. And so I feel like she'll tell you to your face she's never grown a plant. That's not her thing. But I really appreciate Pam as a female entrepreneur in this and for making big shit happen. So yeah, this is just the outside of the building. I swear these pictures get better. Let's zoom this out. So this one's inside. Oh, you can't see my little arrow. I'm sorry. Damn. Watch, I'm going to have the worst pictures for you. I'm sorry. Another little shot of a corner. This was just exciting because the walls were going up. It had taken so long to even get to this point for them and to all of us. Yeah, this one's a cute one. Let's see. That's Pam actually down in the hallway. So this facility, I don't even think still to this day everybody's had full access in, is the positions that we all started in here, because it was only a 5-person team, including Scott when I got hired, and for like the first like 9 months. So people sometimes will be like, oh, I worked at Red Ignis, and I'm like, bullshit. Like nobody worked there. And so anyways, I think that this was like the main hallway when you would come into the facility. Nobody ever got to see this, and like it was super confidential. Probably still is, but because it's on the gram, we're good. So anyways, they had these secured like RFI, like I don't know, like just a badge door, you know. But everything, you had to shower. You had to shower in between every single room. So there wasn't a lot of people, like I said, ever that were hired to do like multiple rooms or multiple tasks, anything like that. Trimmers were hired like to only trim, and they were only let into this like private entrance, and like to exit out of it. They never really got to see inside the grow. It's sad, but it was like awesome as far as quarantine. Is like same with the lab, is like Red Ignis has its own MIP lab and extraction processing side completely. They work really tightly with Incredibles, especially at that time. And a couple other companies like Dialed In, whatever. But they like made it where even the lab had a separate entrance, and like it was just weird. It was weird. Like the staff that was hired to do veg only could work in veg, and you had to shower even to like go outside and like take your lunch break. If you wanted to do that, you would have to shower when you come back in and change into scrubs. And yeah, sometimes I'd have to shower literally like 11, 12 times a day. And it was crazy, but it was clean. It was kept really, really clean. Let's see another one. They are going to get exciting. These ones are just like the little things. So when you see like, I don't know, when you see the scale of some of this is like when you start getting into industrial instead of even like the commercial side of things. And so this building is to produce indoor 10,000 pounds a month of high quality weed though. It's not supposed to be shit, you know? It's like supposed to be some of the most top of the line stuff out there. So I feel like if you can imagine, it's just crazy because these pictures make it look so small, but it's not. I think that this is one of the cure rooms, honestly. It is kind of small. It's hard when they're not labeled this early on. I wish I would have. I'll label some. One day we'll come back to it. We'll get one of the boys on. Let's see. Blurry. Let's skip this one. We'll get into the plants. You guys just hang in there. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this was just a clip. I haven't even read this in a long time, so we'll find out together. In addition to Rare Dankness, which only operates in Colorado, Moonshine started Rare Dankness' genetics in 2011, which is their global entity. RD Genetics, along with its distributors, is based in Europe. So this is the coolest part. This is why I wanted to work with Scott, and this is why like I really promote hydro weed. And when you look at people doing it properly, this is very far and few between. I feel like is Scott, because of his cancer, really created a product that was like intended to help people that were battling like or combating some of these diseases or any illness, honestly. So our product had to be extremely like safely grown to be consumed by this, and he did this because he really believes in the product even saving his life. And so anyways, now I'll read this. Cancer changed Moonshine's relationship with cannabis. After about a decade of growing cannabis, Moonshine says he developed a healthy love and respect for the plant. However, his relationship with cannabis changed forever when he was diagnosed with testicular cancer in January of 2010. According to Scott, it caused him to have a much stronger spiritual connection to the plant. Moonshine's doctor told him that he believes cannabis kept his testicular cancer from spreading. So it's crazy because Moonshine was Scott's like grow name, I guess. And like it's weird because I don't know, it's not weird, but if you would have looked like back in the forums, like from forever ago, like this is what Moonshine, this is what he would go by, and he was all over the forums. That's like some of these guys that have been in it forever. I think it's like stinging, like even for me personally, this job is there's a lot of people that like either know or don't know that you've ever worked there, or like I hate to say this, but they'll make it sound so easy, or like this business sometimes gets so competitive amongst growers and breeders that like you don't get acknowledged for the things because of time, or like if somebody didn't know of you then, or like didn't know of this brand or some of these things. So like 10 years later or whatever it is like people will be like, oh, you don't understand scale, or you don't understand quality, or you don't understand all these things. And like you'll be like, have you ever heard of this company? And they'll be like, no. And you're like, what? Like this is like a person that is like a staple in this industry forever. And I think that in breeders and genetics, and like has influenced like me as a breed. Like I wanted to work for Scott so bad because I had competed against them in quality, and honestly I placed all over Colorado and like placed above some of the people that I worked with. And then they wanted to like join teams and join forces, and like, sorry, I keep saying like, in the scale part that nobody had really achieved but everybody had desired. I respect Scott so much because he was ballsy enough to not only like execute making it happen, but this facility cost about $30 million to build. And I feel like to fantasize about something like this and actually bring it to life, and then I don't know, like at this point, like things have changed, transitions have happened with their business, and I hope that it was phenomenal for them and paid off really, really well. But I hope that some of the newer guys like really can research, and I don't know, there's like this lack of understanding or respect of some of these guys in the game that it's just badass. That's my rant there. Love Scott. Let's see this one. This was another popular strain that I forgot. Okay, Rare Dankness, Scott's OG, 501, First OG, Star Killer OG, and Leroy OG. Leroy, one time Scott and I were hanging out in the bedroom, and he was telling me a story about Leroy OG and how it got its name. It's one of my favorite strains by Scott. And those that like OGs, it's like phenomenal. It's just like that old school, like 90s kind of like just OG. And he was telling me that his grandfather's name was Leroy. And that he loved his granddaddy. And so that's why he named it Leroy OG. And I thought it was so cute and so sweet. Not like cute, like like sweet. This one is just, I think this is another guy. This strain, man, that's really funny. So look at the date of this. That's 2012, July 30th, 4:30 in the morning. And the strain, man, is who won Dark Horse's competition in December, I believe, or was one of the competitors. I believe he placed. So that's just funny. It's cool to see like the old school shit. I'm not going to read all this, but you can you can go back through and I'll post it in the description. More tools and parts. Just really building up the anticipation. These crates, let's see what these are. The break room. I remember the break room was the last thing to get designed, and they were like, shit, we made it too small. And so these are the things that even when you have the most incredible brains all coming together, I'm saying engineers, all this stuff, for those that get down on yourself for not building your grow exactly perfect every time, just know it happens to all of us. Let's see. Trim room, hallways, and break room. Fan coils. That's what those bad boys are. I remember just taking pictures of like all their shit like I was getting it. Like, look at their gavitos. Just kidding. This is a picture of Scott. Those who don't know what Scott looks like, he's a little bit younger in this one. I bet we have another better one of Pam and him. This is when I feel like he had reached his goals to achieve this dream. Sorry, that's why I like that picture. He's all happy. This is some of the filtration system, I believe, of that. Let's see. Those are the chillers. I'm sorry. Fan coils. Just everything was so big. I'll pull up one day like these actual brands and companies for us to actually go through so you can see like the difference. Maybe one day you would need them. This is our little security scanner so that you could just go in the room. It was nice, but it tracked everything. You were not allowed to carry a cell phone at Rare Dankness. They would track your IP address straight the fuck up. Unless you were a manager, you could not have your phone. And you could not take pictures. And you could not... So it's like weird. It's because I think that there's not a lot of cannabis people that choose to do this for a living and that want to work in like a super strict environment, I'll be honest. But then there's also a side that like people feed off of that are like, I want to grow weed and I want it to be like this science lab and to be kind of like this stringent environment. To me, Rare Dankness was not what a lot of people would expect. Like, you didn't really like listen to music or like there was no... It was like very serious. I mean, I really don't want to make this sound bad by any means because I was really like excited to be in that environment and prove that we all took this really seriously. But like, you know, like a year into it or so, you're like, oh, this is tough to be taking thousands of clones a day and just like moving thousands of plants instead of some of these grows where you're moving like a couple hundred plants. Like this, everything was very fast paced. And I think because we were such a small team planting the first plants at this spot I think that we all had to like, you had to prove yourself, but then you had to prove yourself like every day. And I feel like for those that think it would be so like easy or so dreamy or something to work in cannabis, it's like, it's just funny because these moments, I'm like, damn, we worked so hard and nobody will ever know, but who cares? That happens to all of us in life. I think I should slowly back away. Looks like work. Priva. Yeah, so this is why I want to like pull this up because this won't let me zoom in any closer. But like I said, I'm not gonna overhype it. I'm gonna have my dad come on the show sometime. He works a lot with Argus controllers and has like wired them in greenhouses and things. I'm familiar with it enough, but I'm not gonna say like I'm like an expert. I would love to have an expert on the show from their company. Like I said, you can't really use these systems like a typical irrigation timer or like a plug and play kind of system. Yeah, that's all I'll say for now. For now. What is this? Is this the Priva system or is this the electrical? See, we were just like all about Priva. They used to have to fly in from Europe. Like seriously, talk about an expensive day at the office. These guys would come in and this was literally their team. There was, I don't know, there was probably 10 of these panels in the whole facility. I wish I had an electrical panel picture. Maybe this one shows better. This is the electrical. That's what I'm talking about. I just never get lucky, guys. Sorry. Oh, come on. Slide a little bit more. There we go. First floor electrical panels are up. Second floor looks just as big of a setup. Large panel is Priva. Yeah. There we go. Can you see? Yeah, there's not a lot of people that would like really get off on this, but I will say this is like the Gucci of Gucci. You're just like, oh my God, I will never trip a breaker ever. It's all lies though. Just kidding. I think it's just next level. But I also think that it can be overwhelming when you look at this stuff too. But I don't think it really is. Yeah, this is like the little things that I used to think were so sexy to just see come together. Some of the grows that I've actually like consulted for or worked with in the past is they literally have fans blowing on their panels and it's not good. Like I've had them like melt, like the 3 feet, like I don't even know. Like it's just shit goes awry with electricity. We all know as growers. And these facilities, it's just like you walk in and you're like, oh my God, I can plug a shop vac in anywhere. Watch me go. It's just completely different. This is when like the lighting, that's why I want to talk about Priva sometime a little bit more and actually have some of their precise information on their technology because it really is mind-blowing. It has this UV sterilization system in it, which I know everybody's familiar with now, but this was back in 2016. The facility officially opened, I think, in 2017. It might be 2016. I'm sorry. But it was pretty badass at the time. Like, it can process, like, they had rainwater that was getting sterilized through this and all kinds of shit. But it was actually tested. I can't remember if it's, like, at parts per billion or what we did or what they did, but this was a phenomenal system. Your water, you could use a recirculating system and it would actually keep you clean. And you wouldn't have to run like, at this point, Scott, we weren't running like hydrogen peroxide. We were using Zerotol and Oxyphos from Biosafe. Anybody that has tried Biosafe before or hasn't, you really should, because they have some great products. Like Sanidate was one that we'd use at all the doors in this facility. So we had those little like greenhouse floor mats and we do a Sanidate mix in a 5-gallon bucket. Those like battling stuff for powder mildew, you can do this. I can get the exact ratios for you if you guys have any questions. Put it in the comments and I'll write it back. But I feel like if you use those solutions, the Sanidate specifically, you can use that as like a cleaning solution. But you can use the Zerotol and Oxyphos to actually run through your drip lines. And that's what we used to do. We used to do it once a week on Fridays. We'd run this Zerotol. I don't know if he actually used Oxyphos with it at the time. But it's something that you can do. It's something that works really, really well if you're not into hydrogen peroxide. Let's see. These are the reservoirs coming in. I don't know why this was also so exciting, but we had a water room. Most of the facilities that I redesigned, I put all the reservoirs in a room. It's a common problem. Maybe not a problem, but it's a preference that I have, for mixing, for lots of reasons, actually. You can see if, like, there's a problem. It's all isolated. I'll just show you in here. They have a water room. The reason I'm thinking this is because a lot of people don't. And so usually if you put all of your reservoirs in one space, have even all your wastewater, if you can, in that space. It sounds weird, but It's basically what was going down here. But when these came in, we were like, oh, it's getting close. It's getting close. Every day I would like pray for an email, you know, like every day for 2.5 years. It really was. I don't even think Scott or Pamela know. Like, just holding your breath every day. I don't think I ever stopped talking about it. I'd go to my other jobs and be like, I hope today's the day. Those ones are 1,500-gallon reservoirs. Let's see. But there was like 8, I think, in this room. This is Scott and his son when they were, his son is so little here. We'll just skip over that. I think they're planting tomatoes. Damn it. This is Scott when he was 6. See, I don't know what it is, but I remember this being a part of my interview as well. That it was just crazy to see little Scott like really struggling. There's Pam through something like that and using cannabis, and just I know that there was a lot more layers to his healing, but it really encouraged me to like really believe in cannabis helping people. And Scott did this program for people that had cancer or anything that was like, that really was causing their life strain, to say the least, is he would give them ounces for like a penny. It was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Our weed was expensive at the time. I think it was like $400 an ounce. Definitely not anymore. That's the day he got his red badge. Huge accomplishment as a grower or any breeder in this industry. Okay, Gavita. This is when Gavita first came out, and Gavita actually did this warehouse before they did anybody else's warehouse as well, and it was cool. It was cool at the time. These lights are way higher up than people think, or that I've seen people kind of like do afterwards. It's strange to me, as a lot of people would put DEs or plasmas like very close to the canopy still, or just a couple of feet off. I think that's because traditional lighting that we've used has been taught that way, but I just do want to point out that you'll see when there's actually plants under here that this is like 10 feet off of the rolling benches. Probably what doesn't look like it, but the plants did awesome like that. Oh, let's go. This is that water room I was talking about. So this base here that you can see on the wall to your left, where it's blue, it's all waterproof and mold resistant. Eventually it was covered with FRP board. But I think if you are even like at your house, if you're going to have like a stationary water room or anything, even like a small space that you're going in, say you don't have a tent, it's really awesome. I know that shit's expensive now, but if it's just a small space that you're trying to do, it really makes a huge difference over time. If you have a lot of water exposure or humidity, something that we could talk about another time. Okay, finally getting into the good shit. Sorry about all that. Okay, so the rolling benches. This was like a big deal too at the time. This is before Botanicare had ever done this. This was Green, what was this company? GSC or something? I'll remember. But it was a pretty big deal. So a rolling bench, these are standard sizing is 4 foot to 5 foot in width. You can get either size. I definitely recommend getting the 4 instead of the 5. These are 5s, and in between the rows, what this creates is that you can fill a space with all of these trays almost wall to wall, and you can move them over to walk down the aisles. So instead of having, multiple aisles, you can just move the tray over fairly easily, even with like a shit ton of plants on it. It's very impressive. Very incredible system. I've seen more people like install them incorrectly in commercial grows, and if the floor is not level in some of these things, totally defeats the purpose. Don't even mess with it. But if you do have a space you're trying to get the most out of, it's expensive, but it's awesome. These, I remember when the Jungle Boys put this company in their facility. This is before their facility even. Is their Gavitas or plasmas. I can't remember if it was Gavitas specifically that they were running, but they would explode and their tray caught on fire because of the glass, and they're like extremely flammable. Find out too late. That's never happened at Rodegna's, but it's terrifying to me after. We'll get to the good stuff with the plants on them though. Of course not. Of course can't be the next picture. Sorry guys. I like to keep it jumbly, as we all know. Okay, this is the store. So this was when they actually were doing the concept design for it. It's cool because you'll actually see it finished. And if you ever come to Denver, you should still check it out. You can see like they have this round bar in the center. I'm sorry that I didn't take a better picture for you guys, or grab a better picture, should I say? Let's go a little bit bigger. Yeah, we'll just find the real deal, but you guys can kind of check it out. It came out pretty accurate, I would say. Oh, okay, I definitely had to post this picture. Look how bad I look. I definitely am looking rough that day. This was not a job that you wanted to look hot at or good. So I just want to shout out Pamela and thank her so much for posting this picture, because this is the day that I got hired. I wouldn't say it's not the day I got hired, but it's the day that they all posted us on Instagram. And that was like a pretty big day. I remember all the other employees would put Rare Dankness in their name, and that was cool. But I wanted to, like, for some reason, this particular point in my career, I was the opposite. I was like, I don't want anybody to know I work here. I just want to stay incognito, do my thing, crush out my job. And I feel like this was probably the only picture at the time. Yeah. So thank you, Pamela. Thank you so much. I remember there was a lot of haters on there, though. They were like, this is the person that you fucking hire? The skunk. Those that have seen this. This is the Rare Dankness. Okay? Can't stop growing. That is Mike. You can find him on Instagram. He was there. Okay, this is a good picture of veg. Check it before you wreck it. Okay, working hard. We were working hard. Rug burn. There we go. Can't stop growing. Over half of the 11. Yeah, so this is when we were just filling the room. Sorry, I had to, like, see myself. I zoomed in too much. Is when we just started filling the facility with plants. Is like, you can see me in the back looking like a boy. Really good look. I'm the only one without a beard, if you can't find me. So these plants are actually on 6-inch blocks. And you'll see, we grew with only rock wool here. So where I do the cocoa blend with my system now, I only do that really as a buffer. But here, we would put these on slabs. So this was like more so the second phase of veg, just so you guys can kind of see. I'll try to find a better picture that shows you a little bit more of the facility or of this veg room. But the metric tags are on top there. The Netafim drip lines are placed in the plant. Oh, what else could we see here? You can see where the back comes in on those main lines. That's where all the irrigation actually has its... So it has shut-off valves for every single table. Manual shut-off valves. I try to point this out because if you ever set up an irrigation tray, really do yourself a favor and just put shut-offs. You think that you will never use them, but like you will definitely use it. Whether it's like flushing a tray versus not flushing the others, or all kinds of stuff, doing a drench, like there's all kind of benefits to it. But I do really like how he built this facility where all of that, when you have a water room like that, everything is like internally hidden basically. And if you do it properly, it makes you avoid a lot of problems with like cleanliness or like lines bursting, or I don't know. So yeah, this would be my dream bedroom if I had one. So cheers to Scott on that. Oh, let's see. I really want to show you guys how big these plants are though. There is a lot of pictures. Oh, I love their parking signs. Thought that was super cute. Here is the bedroom full. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, this was like very advanced technology too. I keep like forgetting about that now because a lot of us see these rooms look like this on Instagram or wherever. But the truth is this was so ahead of its time. Like companies like Grodan, they had never had this type of experience even themselves. And it was so cool getting to work with everybody directly at that time. And I don't know, just seeing it. You can see, it's funny now because I know some things about plants that I didn't know back then, like even with diseases. And it's just like hilarious. I can see a couple things in this photo that I would have never been able to identify before. So I feel like I'm not going to do it right now, but You guys can see some of these bigger plants are looking good, and they're starting to fan out, and they have the sheet on top. That white sheet there it's placed over the drippers, but that's just so you don't get algae. Those that like don't really grow soil, you can still get algae, but it takes a lot of like almost like the water walking out. With rock wool, it's such an ideal climate for the algae to grow. It's like its favorite environment, honestly, and the nutrients that we give our plants is like its favorite food as well. Is if you take away and you eliminate the light, those that don't know, with like a sheet like that, these you can get on Amazon or at your like local grocery stores. These are 4-inch block covers where those are 6-inch blocks. Some people will do that so that it's either easier to hand water if they were doing that before this. These plants were always on drip, so it doesn't matter. But if just so you know your options, when that plant gets like really big, the stalk, and right before you put it into flower, typically you can take it off the sheet because the canopy itself will shade the top of the rock wool. But when they're young like this, the light will just get the algae going crazy if you don't have the sheets or if you're not running like hydrogen peroxide. Let me see if I zoom back out. Sorry, so you can see like the scale. Not doing this justice. I'll step up my game one day. Bum, bum. Yes, look at this. Look at Scott go. I remember the day that he got his picture taken for this. And honestly, I really am so proud of him. I can't imagine being in this position, like I said. And Pamela, I don't want to leave that out anytime. I think they're a power team. Power couple. So the house of dankness. The house that dankness built. God, I cannot talk, and I'm sorry. You guys should check this out. I'll put the link in the description of this show because there really is a cool article detailing Scott's obvious like perspective of this, and it's probably better than hearing mine. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is from it. I'll just pick up on a little section here. But this is a dream come true for Reach. A culmination of consulting on more than 300 grows over the last 5 years and countless more before that. It's an achievement he ranks up there with breeding one of his signature strains, Ghost Train Haze, sorry. Like many others in the industry, Reach ended up where he is almost by accident. An Alabama-born bike mechanic with a degree in welding and metallurgy, he made his name in the cannabis industry as one of the main members of the Devil Harvest Crew, DHK, the storied cannabis trading group. It is from that trade and hard work that Reach, also known as Moonshine in his DHK days, was able to create and popularize some of cannabis' most popular and potent strains. Today, Rare Dankness is already one of the most recognized brands in cannabis, with Rare Dankness strains being grown and traded worldwide. And I can't read the bottom. Sorry, I stumbled over that. Let's keep going. What is this one? I think Can't Stop Growing is in here. We know I can't read, so I'm not going to do this one. So this is the other side of the veg. I can read, sorry. Just can't tonight. So when we saw that large picture before, that is one side of this main bedroom, and then this side would be on the right. And this was actually double tiered, so you can see the two trays. I don't know if you actually can. But it wraps around in like an L. And the plants would go from the clone room when they were actually acclimated. So we did something that was really unique with cloning, I think, to most people, so they were domeless cloning. So in rock wool, but without a dome. So that's hard to achieve in most places, or like Colorado, because it's really dry. And it's not that you can't do it. Sometimes you should do it. But you'll run into like it'll take longer typically for a clone to root if you don't have a dome, without the humidity and some of those things. And some of the benefits that we get with that high humidity I love having high humidity with my clones. So This room though, here specifically, was climate controlled to the point that you could really have it at 80% humidity with no struggle. So the clone room, to get them to adjust from that space though, even being large with like a higher humidity level to this space, you still run into like a couple different obstacles. And same with lighting, is these lights are very intense on the left, and then on the right hand side it's a totally different lights. But we can go through that a little bit more too. I'll probably do a better rare dankness episode after this after going through this. But you'll run into things where your plants will get really wilted and really sad. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, especially back in the day before LEDs, is like, it's just different. So those little lower section over here, it was easier for us to control the humidity at this part of the room, which sounds ridiculous, but it really was. And the lighting. And you can see that they are babies, very young, very little in this picture. Let's see. Wish I had more flower. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so these are the Floraflex drip covers. So like these drip plates, the stakes used to go into these holes. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Oh. Nope. Okay, well, it doesn't really matter. The drippers are stakes that penetrate in the medium fully. So I prefer stakes like this as well, is it helps you avoid things like powder mildew. If you have top feeding stakes, it's not that you can't use them. It's just things like that make it where you have to keep things really clean to avoid powder mildew and stuff like that. If you have surface watering specifically inside, it's just with that dark period, some of these things, shenanigans. So once again, these are their cap covers of Floraflex. It's like a thin plastic. It's pretty pliable. I'll be honest that when the plants are really healthy and doing fantastic, the hole that they give for this stalk, you can like fold this thing up or down and kind of flex it to move around the stalk. Sometimes the base was just way too thick that you couldn't fit these caps on it. So it's not that they're not awesome and you can wash them and you can even put them in a dishwasher. It's just, I would be careful if you're ever looking for covers like that. But it's pretty good, sis. Dumb. Yeah, you can see the dripper is kind of pulled out there. Must have taken a plant out. This room was filled with males and females in the beginning. So it was actually really exciting because we got to pick males and females for breeding projects and things like that, and pheno hunts and all kinds of things. And a lot of people get scared when you're growing with males in the same space, like even in a veg room in the beginning. But in veg, it's not a big deal, right? They're not gonna pop their stacks or be dropping pollen. There's not gonna be any bud sites from the ladies, nothing like that. So this room, sometimes, like, I bet where that opening is, I bet there was a male. And I bet some of these other openings that you see, we were like, ooh. Some plants really do start showing young. These plants in this picture are only max like 5 weeks old. And these were done with the 2-inch rock wool blocks. So we used to have to drill out the tops of these rock wool cubes. I've talked about that before with a hole saw. And they're pretty awesome. I think that it makes for a bigger plant. You probably get more, like, let's just say realistically, like a 25% yield increase if you'll use the 2-inch versus a lot of other clone sizing blocks or cubes, or even like the root riots or something. The 2-inch rock wool blocks just really produces like a huge, massive stalk. Takes longer to see roots, but really creates a nice little root zone and big little plant. Let's see. Sorry, I'm messing shit up. Let's go back out. I doubled up. Let's remove you. Remove you. What is this? So this is a camera picture. I bet that this was something funny. Moving into flower room 1 today. This was like a big day. Building the future. Sea green, rare dank. Can't stop growing, rug burn. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, so the flower room, there was I don't want to mess this up, but I want to say there's 10 flower rooms in total in the whole building, and they're all massive like this. You can see on the right side, that's like a way better view of flower. They're all rolling benches. I'm trying to think how many trays were actually in there. These rooms would hold, like, let's just say an average of 2,500 plants. And I think that you could do more if we didn't have like plant limits and things like that. But it really was really a lot of plants. And so we'd have to take an elevator. There's an elevator in the facility, which was nice, instead of just working with stairs, like spoiled. But we'd have to take these carts upstairs in this facility because veg was downstairs, like all of the veg rooms. And all of the flower rooms were upstairs, which you didn't think like was a big deal with like 6-inch blocks. Definitely not easy. Very wet job here. I wish that the camera wasn't so blurry, but it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. It's just an exciting day. It takes months to get to that point. Pamela, I got some wine and she posted it because I just want you guys to see that Pamela appreciated how this is wrapped. Okay, let's start there. Second, Pamela drinks wine that is blueberry. It's like blue. Maybe it's not blueberries. I don't know. It's blue wine. Never seen anything like it in my life. Tastes really good. But she told me about blue wine, and now I want to tell all of you. If you're into the wine, the vino, you got to try this shit. I'll find it. I'll find it again. I'd never seen it. Pam was like, no, I drink the blue stuff. I'm like, really? Okay, these are what I'm talking about. These are the pictures I was trying to find. So the plants in the beginning, you can see how like they're just really small. It's hard to gauge like when you're just doing a fresh transplant like that. And because we were in the beginning phases of the facility, like there's not moms that have been there forever or something like that. So these ones, it shows like the actual stalks of these, dang it, are in the canopy. Like these are healthy girls. Like honestly, these are some healthy Rockwool hydro plants. I know that people are probably cringing. And you can see above there the lights. So the blue and the white spectrum. I don't know if anybody's ever played with that pre-LEDs, you know? It was cool. It was cool. We'll talk about it some other time. But because we're going to have a lighting episode, okay? I might even crash Dark Horse to talk about lights one day here soon. But let's see if we can zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, you can see that back section of the younger plants. You can see the front here. These plants are getting close to being flipped. Okay, let's carry on. I wish that I had more strains. One of the favorite pictures. Is this one? This is a freshie. This is a fresh flipped flower room. So the trellis here, this is like traditional sea green. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about the sea green system? I think that when you have like stalks of plants like this doing really well and the plants are really clean, I think it's a great system. But I think that if you have any ruckus or shenanigans go awry, it gets a little wild. I don't know. What are you guys thinking? I need to check out the chat. How do you feel about it? Dang, this warehouse is still cutting edge like 10 years later. That's what really is so cool. I think it would be hard to like move away from something like this, honestly. But then at the same time, I'm like, you'd probably want to build this masterpiece to realistically like be able to retire and live your life and travel with your family, which I think Scott's been doing. But I imagine like just like how I saved all these, like it's ridiculous, but I just remember all the emotions and like really, really like just being so nervous to work with the equipment. That's why I wish today I had a little bit more details on the specific photos that I chose, but I had to throw this together last minute, honestly. And I will come back to this because I don't want to talk about it in detail with these specific systems too much and not really share like how unique and like extravagant they really are, even to like the Quest units, but like AC and watering system, and it just, the nutrients and things like that. Like Scott's just running. I think he has his own grow line for a part A and B nutrients line that he was running there, and it's just honestly just a part A and a part B. Super direct, super easy mix. And you can see the plants like are healthy, happy. But everything else, I think like keeping the facility sterile, like keeping things defoliated and pruned at certain days of like not only like the week, but like the time within the plants themselves hormonally. And I don't know, it's just cool. THC Garage, thank you so much. Noel, Dark Horse has the yield in Stockton Slab. Got 3 just started in flower. That's so exciting. You gotta tell us about the Stockton Slab. I've really been digging, it's the Juliet and, damn it, it's not the Conjugal Visit. Well, it's not that I don't. I'm just like telling Jason I'm not crazy about the name, but I can't believe I just spaced this right now. Damn it. It's one of my favorite strains right now, and I can't remember it because I got too high. Yep, we'll just great shame that one. God, it's gonna drive me crazy now. Roid Rage, Jesus. Roid Rage from Dark Horse has been like honestly something that I'm really into. Those, if you can get seeds of that, I don't even know if they're on the website right now, but we've been flowering that and I'm pretty into it. If you like that like funky, or you're into hash, like for reals, it's great for that. But if you like that like old school kind of like funk though, not necessarily just OG, it's heavy. Like it's a heavy one. I just want to show you this beautiful photo once again. Okay, you don't get family photos like this every day. There's Rugburn and Scott. And this guy is JJ on the left. He was hired last. I mean, like with timing, like I think this was like 3 months into the facility. And then Mike, not my favorite, is over here somewhere. And then Rugburn though is so awesome. Look at him on this side. I guess I don't know. He's got his little lanyard on. And then of course Scott on the left. I just love this day. We were all doing our little defoliating project together, and it was cool because Scott would come in there and he would work with us, especially in the beginning, all the time. And it's just, I don't know, it's cool. It's cool. When you see that in these owners and breeders, especially when they're doing shit like this, you're like, yeah. This is another, did we already look at this one? Yes, I think we did. This is just flower. Let's see. I wish I had like late flower pictures. I'm sure I do somewhere. This is when they're just barely getting going. What do you guys think? What do you think of all this? I'm like really sorry if I'm giving a terrible description. Let's see if there's something more exciting here. Let's see. Nope. I just really wish, I know I have some mature flower in here. I just want to find it. This room's getting dense. This is like probably in between day 21. Honestly, they probably got defoliated before this point, and then we just let them sit from the time that they would flip into. We'd stagger the lights and then let them sit for 2 weeks, and then come in and defoliate. And I feel like that was a pretty good system. I don't know how you guys like to do it, but I think it's good to also base it obviously off the strain, but for the most part, they dug it. They liked it. Filling in. Yeah, this is just when we were getting the facility full. It really did take quite a while, and we had the obstacles. I wish that I could have all of the crew on at the same time, because I think that everybody had a lot of stress and pressure on themselves to try to do the best with such a large scale and not have anything go awry. But I think that's what every business owner hopes for, and it's just not realistic. I remember they had some shit happen after I didn't work there, with their plants actually freezing. Somebody like fucking up the AC unit, and their plants actually freezing. Do you know how devastating? Like, I was devastated not working there because I knew how long it took to get these rooms full and how much having a lapse in your perpetual like that costs you. I don't know. But then you also see the flip of, like, I remember our first harvest and, like, actually being able to go into the dispensary and buy weed there, and, like, your first cans that we all grew. And it sounds ridiculous, cans. I know people are going to make fun of that, but Red Ignis was one of the first people to do, like, a sealed airtight can. And it was actually to preserve the weed. He wasn't doing it to be cheap. It was, like, the opposite. And I think people, like, make fun of it and, like, think it's, like, this shitty thing. But compared to, like, the plastic tubes or plastic canisters now, or I don't even know. There wasn't fancy shit. Red Ignis was the fanciest. Fanciest. I can't wait to show you guys more. But you could just see that the plants were clean. I should, like, have somebody else do this with me so that they could ask me questions. But you can just see that it was, like, just a really nice facility. It just, see, the downside is now people have seen this shit too much where it doesn't, like, hit home for what it really is. But something like this. Look at that bad boy. So good. Those are the babies once again. I keep going back to this, but let's just exit off of her. I think we're getting close-ish to the end. This is a good picture of Scott with the plants. Second veg table is full. Damn it. Sorry, guys. Second veg table is full. It's just cool. Like, we're talking about how he's like hoping to fill in these ladies faster than ever. You can see him with all of his scrubs, his hair thing. Yeah, we all were looking good, that's for sure. Oh, yeah, that's a good picture too. Good morning to the kids. Oh, love it. Love it, love it. Let's see. This is a good one. Bam. That's Rugbird in the back working with Scott. This is that 2-tier section. This is when, like, T5s and T8s and all those things. Basically, pre-LEDs. When everybody was using this. But, oh, sorry. There we go. You can see that section now. This is that right side of the veg room where it's 2-tiered. And so the youngest plants go on the bottom. Then they move up as they get older. Then they move to the other side of the room as they get bigger. Just a lot of movements. Who can relate to me on this? Another baby picture. Yes. I wonder how exciting it was for Scott to really see, like, even though, like, to get the keys. Can you guys imagine? I don't know. It's got to be good. Oh, lights everywhere. Trellis support. That's the thing. Trellis is a bitch. And these rolling benches made it nice because they had these poles that you could actually just attach the trellis to. And it was, like, sturdy enough, firm enough that you could actually pull it tight by yourself. And you could do a row. These we'd have to use, like, a hanging. We had a wheel of trellis, and we'd have to do it with, like, 4 people, honestly. And I don't know, it's just, like, a whole thing. I've seen the people, like, put 2 ladders together and then a pole and have, like, a roll of trellis material. But trellising can be, like, some next level shenanigans, if you know what I mean. Oh, the hallway. Working on the hallway. I just wish that I had more. This is, like, pretty bare bone, or I mean, it's getting close to being open, but this is pretty young into the project as well. I guess not really, but felt like it. These, okay. still had a lot of time to go. Look at how good they look in this picture. Guys, tell me. Day 21. I feel like that's pretty cool. I'm going to zoom this out so you can actually see. Oh. I will figure out the strains. There was only 13 strains that we ran here. For out of all the weed, like weight is 13 strains, because it was like too hard to do this. Like, I think with like a library of like 200 for reals without getting messed up. We still did pheno hunts and we still did projects like that, but the actual like perpetual filling of these rooms, 13 strains. I think it's like something that people don't realize though. When you go into a dispensary or something and you're like, I want 40 strains. It's like, yeah, but that means that they have to grow 40 strains. And I absolutely love doing this. In Dark Horse, we love doing this. But I'm saying, like, I don't think a lot of people are like, yeah, that sounds great. Let me pay for all this. But no, if you're a true smoker, you need that variety too. This is one of my favorite pictures Scott took. This sounds ridiculous, but look at how big these plants are. The pictures don't do it justice. Like I said, these are young plants. This plant isn't even 2 months old. And it's like, look at those bad boy. Girl. Sorry. Look at the stalk on there. Look at the leaves all fanned out, green and happy. I wish you saw this more. This is why I get pissed when people are like, hydro weed sucks. I'm like, yeah, probably the person that you like smoked this from or like got this from. Like, hydro weed is fire. Just like organic weed is fire if it's grown meticulously and loved and taken care of. Shit is awesome. And it is better than other people's weed. So tired of people being like, that's not true. It's like, yeah. Almost ready to flip. So you can see like the size of these plants though, of running sea of green. Like, I feel they do probably look smaller than some people would flip a plant. But these plants just get so big so fast. Those first couple weeks of being in flower, they really do get massive. You guys tell me if you've ever been surprised by that. Like when you put in these, like, I don't want to say squatty, but like smaller girls, and then can't stop growing. Here we go. He couldn't see his computer screen. And so he started doing the towel shoot to do his computer in the grow. Yep. This is like a typical day of auditing after you finish the task. This is a good picture of the boys. This is in the clone room. Damn it. Sorry. In the clone room, before the clone room, oh my gosh, was actually finished. So same thing as we were filling these with the first cuts of everything that we were choosing to run, that initial 13. And the clone racks were actually custom made. And you know what sucks is these were custom made and welded together, and the distance was too tight initially for the clone lights that we put in. There's the whole room. It was like a sad day. But you can see the clones potentially on this little bottom. Dang it. I am the worst with this thing. You can't really see it. It's not going to let me zoom in the way I want to. But these clones on the bottom shelf behind the computer, you can kind of see. That's how like slow this process though. You know, beginning phases of the magic. Let's see. Was that one the flower? This is veg again. This is just when they were defoliated. I'm trying to remember this strain here. It was one of my favorites. Excuse me. It was one of my favorites that we did grow there. I can't believe it's called Rare Darkness. There we go. Sorry, Rare Darkness. And you can see where it's pruned up really high. I don't know if you actually can, but that plant that's a little bit skinnier and taller, that row there, it's defoliated pretty high up to like the top note of the plant. And that strain itself like loved that. And it was weird because Scott was the one that showed us, and it was his genetics, and it was just, he was like, this is what you got to do to this strain. And it actually worked fantastic. And we've already looked at those ones. And this one. I'll try to find some of my more personal pictures if we like do another show here soon, or if I go over it with somebody else. But like I said, they were really strict on writing, or sorry, on you having your phone there. I was a manager, and I signed some paperwork, so we can't like disclose a lot of stuff, even still to this day. And so I feel like, just bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. This is the cure room, though. So these racks. Now, this isn't like my favorite part about commercial curing, but this is honestly like a step up above most people's systems for sure. So you can see these racks are on wheels, and these plants are full, like they're broken down. So they're full plants that are hung and flipped over. It actually looks like they're broken down in sections, but they're actually the full plant. And so some people do this like differently. I don't know, is I like to prep my plants before I actually harvest, like only a couple days before, so A, they don't get burnt while we're waiting for that process. And I'll do like a light defanning so that my trimmers don't get fucked, or anybody else. Rare Dankness, we had a similar thing where you keep, you know, your biggest fan leaves to like really preserve the moisture, but for the most part, you're really trying to clean them up. So you could see this was like a typical harvest though. And like, this is just one section of the room. Dang it. I'm so sorry. And so, like, of the actual cure, I mean, like, there was probably, I don't know, 3 more rows that looked like this of a section that would be, or a room that would be taken down. And I feel like these little racks, I was trying to like point out these little poles on the side there. I'm not sure. I wish I had a little wand to show you on the screen. It made it so nice where you could literally like bleach and clean this stuff so easily and sterilize everything and hang it and just keep it there. We could keep it in these rooms completely climate controlled. That sounds like a normal room, but these were like a little bit extra where like you could add your humidity and dehumidification pretty easily. So yeah, this, when they would go in, the humidity would obviously spike really, really high. So this is when you'd be like around like almost like 100% for reals when they were fresh breakdown like this and with so many plants hanging. But on like that 3rd or 4th day, you got to watch it. You know, you got to have air movement, things like that. Is we'd start seeing the humidity, or you'd want the humidity to start dropping. And so everybody I've spoken to in the past or currently really likes staying around that 50% margin of humidity in a space when they're curing. But the truth is like I found that depending on like how much you're harvesting and some other factors, it's hard to really like keep it there for the most part. But I also think it's nice to have it a little bit higher if you're not susceptible, like if you're not combating powder mildew or something previous to this. It's like if you have everything kind of under control, it's good to have that like slow dry and like that moisture and humidity in there for just a little bit. I know some people are going to be like, why did you say this? Let's see this one. This looks like a bright, happy picture. Room number 3. Irrigation getting set up. Lights were phasing on, so only 50% in the picture. It typically takes 30 minutes to power all the lights on. Yeah, that too. So people that stage their rooms, this is good even if you don't have a scale exactly this large, is if you actually have your timers set apart where there is a delay, it won't fuck up your plans. Within reason, right? Like this is like 30 minutes. I wouldn't get like too crazy past that. But it's good to not overload your panel in general and have everything like come on. It's just if you really want your shit to last a little bit longer, run a little bit smoother, stagger it. Just do 1 row at a time if possible, or a couple lights at a time. So these are on the slabs. These are probably 12-inch slabs from what I remember. They have different sizes with this as well. So what you do is you cut out the top of it in a square. There's like a little penetrated line that is easy. Like it's like a Kleenex box or something like that where you just like pop open the top and the rock wool block goes directly on top of that. And so it takes like, let's just say 3 days at most to really, the roots from the top block to be able to really start stabilizing it and growing into the bottom medium. And then we would keep those and harvest them in flower like that with just the slab underneath. It's amazing, absolutely amazing for cleanliness. And a lot of other great benefits come from it. I think like even the quality of your product. But on the flip side, it doesn't have like a very good forgiving buffer. That is one thing. As far as if you let it get too dry, it's not so quick to like bounce back. You guys tell me if you're familiar with growing. Okay, here's the store. Yes. Okay, so that initial picture of the drawing that I showed you, this is what actually came of it. And I feel like they did such a beautiful job. This is obviously, again, when it's not completely finished, but it's so close. And I just really was impressed with how they did this store. It to me, it just really stands out. If you are in Denver, it's a great spot to experience. And even the bud tender working in the center counter, I think it's like great visually to be able to see a lot of shit. They have a lot of good edibles. I don't know, things like that. They are dual licensed, which is cool now, like med and rec. Those that don't know, it's like your medical card really does save you a shit ton in tax. And so you should still get that bad boy or find a way to. This is the outside of the building. You can't really see from this shot. I'll try to find a better picture. You can see their big sign though, and the big line. This was the first day. This isn't even like the final line. This is like before we all even got into work. And like we had to get to work hours before opening of the store. And so, I don't know, this is just pretty exciting. Again, these are like the little things. Thanks guys for hanging in there with me. Yeah, look at this dog. No. This is what I'm talking about. When people like, this is like what hydro, this is what hydro can do for you. And I know a lot of people are like, ew, get that steroided out weed from me. But it's not that. It's just that they're getting all the nutrients that they need, all available to them, all at one time. And they just love it. If you can get them growing, like, out the gate, I feel like hydro just crushes as far as the time frame of the size of these bad girls. These are like probably our second or third run in. Is like if you're running seeds, depending on the seeds, like don't quote me on this for everything, but you really, the more stable you get them even in your environment, the better that they'll do. So like the first harvest, I think for anybody, if you're being honest about it, is like your potency will be overall a little bit lower than I think you could potentially see in the plant, and your yield and some of these other things, like even like the resilience that the plant itself has, versus the third harvest, same plant, same mom, same everything. It just seems like they really acclimate to this space and they're like, okay, I see what we're doing. This was that time. Oh, this is the wine. I just had to show this because I was like, I've never seen this. Oh, here's some product here. What is this one? Puffco for the awesome gift box. Puffco, you're so nice to Scott. That was some of our hash though. This is one of those beginning photos. This is just cool, like I said, because we were filling it up as a team. I think we already saw this picture, actually. That one. Oh, some of these are just funny, too. Yeah, that was like the whole crew, for reals. It's been a long time now, looking back. There's our Leroy. There we go. Let me see if I can zoom in on the flower a little bit more. Yeah. Oh. I'm not going to say what I think I see. But we're going to say congratulations to Rare Dank. House of Dankness. Truly some footsteps to walk in. Shows hard work pays off. It's cool. But that's a wrap. That's a wrap on all that. What do you guys think? I know this show is hard for some to watch. I know that I wish I had better pictures for you. Let me go through the chat a little bit. I'll work on doing something better. It's hard to talk about the rare dankness by yourself. You know, most things I can talk about by myself, but it's hard. It's hard to talk about that one. Moonshine Mix was his super soil mix on the forums. Yeah. The Moonshine Mix was like hella good too. It's like, I think, like I used to actually read the forums. Like that's why these are screenshots of all these. It's like, and then I didn't like think I would end up working with these people or like our journey would cross. Like it's just a weird thing. I remember when I got that job where I'm from, in Lyons, Colorado, is everybody in the town was like, dude, doing Lyons right. Like way to rep it and stuff like that. Like it was such a big deal if you were into cannabis at the time. I don't know. But then everybody kind of took away that sparkle, like I said, that's like newer in the game or like not familiar with these brands, or like they'll be like, I don't know what they'll be like, but it's not cool. They're not like, oh, that's fucking awesome. Like, eh. Oh, Canna Chef Chris. Grew out my buddy's cut of Ghost of Leroy outdoors last summer. So dank indeed. Ghost of Leroy. I'd kill for that strain. Let's see. Jeff. Finishing harvest and cops took it. What? Could be worse finally. Cheers. Skunk Cave Glassworks. Cheers to you. Matrix Reset. I like using Bacillus Aquafire as inoculant over H2O2, even in DWC systems. I think that is awesome if you're doing deep water culture and you can actually keep it clean without like running a sterile system. See, Bacillus to me is like, it's weird. Is I used to be like a huge advocate for Bacillus over running a sterile medium and like Xerotol or Oxyphos or hydrogen peroxide and things like that. And the thing is it works really, really well. And it does, they don't work the same, obviously, but they work. I think you could be equally into both of them. I really, really do. But they're different approaches. And I think that Bacillus to me, it's hard to work with, like, with a lot of, like, people or variables coming into. There's a lot of, like, Bacillus strains that aren't compliant in our industry. It's, like, super annoying, but for some reason it's, like, ass backwards and you can't use a lot of Bacillus strains, but that you'd want to use to combat some of these things. But I think that like the variables that I've ran into with like the staff and like obstacles with like pest and disease issues is like Bacillus. I can't say disease when I say that, sorry. But bugs is with the staff and stuff like that. It just makes it too hard for me to combat anymore with using Bacillus only. I can use that approach at my house and I love it. And we use a lot of products involving like that type of protocol, or just, I guess it just is a different approach. But commercially, it's hard for me to go back to like a Bacillus approach. I know that Silver Bullet, Tate, Key to Life, is like, I know that he gave us a product to run that's like a Bacillus base feed, nutrients, like, I forgot what he's calling it because it can't be a treatment here, but same with like Capulator has like the foliar pack and the bio pack and some of those products, and like they have strains of Bacillus in them that are like super awesome. And like if I'm really ever in a bind with root aphids or shit like that, oh, it's phenomenal. But yeah, I guess I can't really say a lot of bad about it. It's just staff shit, really, or something getting mixed incorrectly. That sounds weird, but Fal Bundy, God, I respect you. Fal Bundy, you're the man. Thank you so much for always being so kind to me. I have a motor light mover on a track. Still works, but it's right next to one of the old 1350 watt Gavitas. That's actually awesome. That's cool that you put it on a track too. I'm always like wanting to do stuff like that and not ambitious enough lately. Because I did it years ago, like 2014, and I don't know. It's like that's when lights were like way bigger and way more like heavy and ballast and shit. Now, I think like every LED light seems to be like so fucking massive. The actual grid of it, like the 4x4 shit, like the 3x3. Like I don't. It's one thing about the LEDs. I'm not like Crazy about. Arizona Arizona grows. Skunk. Love the skunk. Yeah, I feel like Scott's good with the skunks too. The Scott's OG, super nice one. Fall dog, you're very nice. Lean back and do the Rockwell way. Yeah, it's true. The plants are pretty. Boomers, I missed you. I want to grow the Rugburn OG. I love Rugburn OG. That's another one of my favorites. Leroy and Rugburn. Moonshine and Ghost Train, like, I've always been partial to, if you like that terpene of like a Durban poison or something like that. Some people would disagree with me, like, when I say this. Moonshine isn't so much that. It's got a little bit more funk to it, a little bit more kick. But I like those strains for like an actual wake and bake or like when I'm trying to feel ambitious. But the Leroy OG and the Rugburn OG, Rugburn told me this story about how it got named Rugburn OG. And it was so freaking funny. I wish he would say it on my show. Is he told me that they were getting high one day testing this weed and that Rugburn literally like passed out. Scott was telling me this with Rugburn though, is that he passed out and he like hit his face on the carpet and gave himself an actual rug burn on his nose. And that's how they named it, Rugburn OG. Pamela and him. Thought it was so funny. I want to have a better setup configuration, but I can't talk about it. Yeah, me too. Me too. I don't slap with my hands. Disbanded, I will talk about anything. Foul Bundy, LOL Jason. Beautiful canopy. Thanks, Buzzed1. You're always so sweet too. I'll defoliate 2 to 3 times in bloom. Matrix reset in progress. That's such a good rule. I think you got to be delicate with that. I think you're like in the perfect sweet spot because I think if you go too hard, like a lot of people do, it's your plants really don't actually like it. I think they're like, I'm getting sunburn. And not just sunburn, lots of other things. But I think versus if you really follow like, you know, like not even necessarily the first week because they are like usually adjusting to a space. I know LEDs are easier for that now, but it seems like really like day 5 in flower to like day 10. Before that, day 21, like real tidy me up, tight clean up. Then I think like you leave them till like day 42. You tell me what you think. Do you do it like spaced out that far or do you like to do it right before they go in or you tell me. Gerhardt, the mechanical systems in that building must have been crazy. Did you have a main department or use contractors when needed? That's the thing is, thanks Gerhardt, that's why I don't want to fuck up the description and I realized pulling up these pictures like, fuck, it's been like since this year. I can't even remember what the fuck this is called. But I think that there was a lot that we did do. That's what I'm like discrediting right now. And like, I'll try to find better pictures of the actual systems because there was a lot that we did hands-on and like installed ourselves. But there was also, like I said, a lot of companies involved when Rare Dankness first opened that they were very like hands-on and almost didn't want us to be involved with. So even though we had like all installed irrigation or worked with irrigation systems before and commercial scale growing, this was like the first facility that had ever used Argus at the time, like indoor in the United States. It's just like weird to think about because now it's like the common controller, but for weed when I say this, but yeah, in like the Priva system, really when you see like the size of a Priva system, how much water you have to use to even use Priva is designed for farming and big agriculture. So it's like more designed for when people are pulling like ports to like flood fields or like shit like that. It's not like a system that was used, definitely not for weed and definitely not like inside to have. That's why like when I say like the inside scale of like any outdoor grower is like always like trying to flex on that shit. But when you like actually run the same scale inside that you would outdoors, it's like a completely different game. You can't like say they're, I don't know, but it's got its own battles. I don't know. Let's see. That's what actually Gerhardt, sorry, you made me think of, that's what happened with their AC unit is like they thought that the staff, because everybody's like used to let's just say like changing out filters and stuff like that on normal units, probably like basic maintenance, I would say. These systems are nothing like a normal like AC unit. And there was a mistake that took place where they put water instead of glycol, I believe was the mistake. I wasn't here for this. Is in there, and I believe one of the AC units froze the room. This is just like a rumor that I've heard a lot though. And if that's really the case, though, it's devastating. But I feel like those are where like those differences though of like you probably should just have the actual manufacturer or I'm saying like their servicer come out and do it because just gets a little squirrely. Everybody wants to be like a know-it-all and I get it and I get that we all have like experience to probably figure shit out, but then at the same time like you just need to step back sometimes and be like, dude, this is like expensive. Like, is it worth me fucking it up? Or maybe fucking it up? Probably not. Let's call in the professionals. Oh, it's sad, but it's true. This TK91 crossed with Sunday Driver is Turpy. Canorado, Fall Dog. Gosh, we love Canorado up in here. I feel like Canorado is probably one of my favorite breeders as well. As far as like his product and quality, for sure. But such a good personality. So nice. I want to run it. That was me. I'm not sorry. Disbanded. Scotty, reach around. That's so funny. See? Nah, I had Great Pie Solo. Super stuff. Oh, see? I need to stop fucking around and get some OR scrubs. I like that. I'll do in Godin. So good to see you. Thank you so much. And for stopping by today. Sorry, guys, if I disappointed you. Is that you and Jason's new shop? You know what? I'm just barging in. I'm just being like, yo, this is our new shop. I feel like, Jason's being really nice. It's like our project. We've got like big things. It's like, I think, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait to see. I get like super excited. But this one is really exciting for me personally because I do think it's going to be exceptional working with somebody. Jason like cares so much about the weed and like the product itself, and I think he respects like me enough in the garden and like having some of this like space. I don't know, it's like I'm just really excited to have the quality and be able to actually be identified with a brand and like with Treat and Dark Horse, and like it's not even like separate or something. It's just like this nice like coming together of something that it's just going to be really nice to have. I haven't actually like had that since headquarters. It's been so long, like 12 years or something since it's not just like running a facility or like consulting or like running multiple facilities. It's like, there's something different when you actually are like really cherished and like I don't know, everybody's skills are put into the right place. And I think that this new adventure that we're going on is like, just gonna be fucking awesome because we're gonna be able to like show this real quality and like care though. Is I know everybody like says this shit, but like I want all my haters to come in and fucking smoke that shit. Try to tell me it's bad. I want all my supporters to actually be able to like see that we really like love our customers, love our products. That this is what keeps us like inspired every day, and like you guys. And I think that, like, I'm not trying to ever sound douchey when I talk about these old jobs or, like, rare dankness or stuff like that. But, like, I was considered one of the top growers in the world at the time. And that sounds so stupid to people. And so, like, But it's, like, the truth is, like, we worked so hard to, like, get to that point. And I think you were told all these, like, incredible things were going to happen. We were all going to be rich and, like, just stay moving forward. And it's, like, no, so much shit happened. So much shit. Like, the industry was hard and it was hard to move up in. And I think honestly, as a lady, the reason I talk shit is because I think you had to work 10 times harder. Like everybody wanted to see you fail at everything. Everybody wanted to like fuck you out of a job, or I don't even know. Like it was such a like dark and like ugly journey in some spots, but then at the same time it was like these sparkles that come along that you're like, no, I'm gonna fucking crush this. And it it was like the day of getting that call of you're hired. It's like, I remember Pamela like seriously just like taking hours to send an email back, you know, like going over and over in your head and being like, should I send this? And like working every single day, like people will tell me like, no, Jay, like I understand, like I've been working in this forever, or I've been working since I was young. And it's like, no, dude, like this has been my obsession since I was like really young. I was 18 when I started in this, and like it's when it started in Colorado, and I competed like kind of right out the gate. Really wanted this, and I wanted to be one of the best. and like, and I think that when you're young, it's like good to have that like ambition or drive. But I think it never went away though. It was like more like what more can you learn? How much further, like what can we test? What more can like equipment, what more science, like what more research and development with these specific things and pesticides and like I don't know, just like everybody wants to grow weed. Like that's really good. Nobody's ever like, oh, I want to grow like fucked weed. It's like everybody's like, I'm gonna grow the best weed. And people say that they grow the best weed, but there's something about reaching a point when like you genuinely like want people to be so happy consuming your product, like genuinely fulfilled and like receive their clone and be fucking excited and their seed pack and actually have success with it when they're pheno hunting. And there's just it's something that is untouchable. It's just I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the people that have given me that on my journey to share these parts of their journeys with them. Is like I think it's like the coolest thing to be able to work with owners and the team both ways, is because all my positions are kind of like that, where you get both perspectives and you're like fully engaged with both. And I think that it's wild to see how much these guys really do like chase this shit and like want it more than anything. And I think if a lot of people saw behind the scenes their obstacles and challenges, they would be like impressed by these guys. They'd be like, oh, okay, they're real. I still have Seeds of Rare Dankness disbanded. That's fucking awesome. It's like Scott's OG and Granddaddy Perp or something like that. I think that's the Rare Dankness or the Rare Darkness. That's awesome. Disbanded. Thank you. I'm jealous. I bought it in 2014, High Times Cup in Denver. That was an awesome. I feel like that's actually when the cup started getting like strict or something. I think maybe the MED said that we couldn't sell weed that year or something. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that was the last year we could do it. I feel like I worked at the clinic at the time. Fall Dog, yes, this place is state of the art. Jeez. Thank you, Fall Dog. That's crazy, Lo. Oh, I like and use it all. I like the skunk logo. Still have the lanyard and the frisbee. That's fucking cool. Disbanded. It really is. I just lost my OG fucking lanyard. You guys don't understand how brokenhearted I am. I've had it for 14 years. I've never met another person in my entire career. Everybody's like, I started when we first started. And you know what's funny is I actually started before the MED, before regulation, before 2014, by years. I had already worked in the weed industry in the medical side since it actually did start in 2009. It's technically 2010, let's be honest. And yeah, I feel like, I don't know, is my lanyard said Medical Marijuana Enforcement Division? And I just lost that shit recently. I'll never be able to get it. But maybe that's like a sign that I should let it go and I'm really not fucking cool. I should just, nobody cares. And Ghost Train, Haze, #1 seeds. I can't believe that you have those seeds. Disbanded, holy shit. If you ever feel like, you know, doing a pheno hunt. It'd be so cool to actually see the seeds of it. Ghost Train, like, I love so much, but I'll be real about this, is my Ghost Train cut from Scott got HLVD so bad. And it's not like his cut. Like, people don't get this. It's like you can get HLVD so quickly to, like, set off in your plant when it, like, didn't have any symptoms going on. Like, you feed that shit, like, a wrong pH or no food for a couple days or something like that. It's like you can get HLVD like nothing. And so I think it's just because it's sitting there like dormant. We'll talk about that, whatever, just like we always do. But anyway, so my Ghost Train got fucked. And I have somebody in Boulder that I've been like trying to meet up with, this is a true story, because they have Scott's actual cut, and I'm like, I need this cut back. It's devastating once again. But it just got, sometimes I get so sick that I don't want to like deal with it. Some strains I'll do it with. Like some strains I really will. Ghost Train, I did it for a long time, but it was like this last time, like when we went for all these trade shows and all these things, is some people, you know, they can't water your plants the way that, like, you guys, can you all relate to this? Is like, you'll be like, water my plants. Like, help me, dog. And it never works out. They have the best of intentions ever, and it's amazing, but it's just like your plants always get fucked up. So yeah, when I came back, I was just like, I'm gonna restart with this. But I would love to do a pheno hunt instead. You already know this is one of my favorite shows. I legit learned shit here. You are a kick-ass teacher, and you don't try to sell me Chinese lights that will burn the house down like the other shows. Godin, thank you so freaking much. More than you could ever know. Tonight was so sloppy. We've had such a busy week. I have not had any days off since we've been back. And I feel like sometimes it makes me like a chaotic sounder. I'm not as chaotic in my mind as I come off sometimes. But I was working till 6 tonight, and I was trying to do the show at 7, but I had to shower. And I was like, damn it. Like every time I want to be like, oh, I'm going to prepare for this. I'm going to have all this information and greatness. It's like, nope, I'll throw this together because I have a normal life. Just like everybody else is just always working, honestly. I don't even think it's like mysterious. I feel like that's what I'm always fucking doing. And so, guys, I swear, you're going to see this podcast get better and better. When the new grow is fully like cleaned, we have so much shit to do this next week. But when it's all coming together and good, the podcast is going to get better. Just right now, we got projects. I like the Grape Ape better than the Granddaddy Perp. Rare Darkness and Grape Ape is Rare Darkness. Thank you, Disbanded. Seriously. Yeah, I like the Grape Ape better than Granddaddy as well. Granddaddy, I just got the cut back recently, and it's just, I haven't grown it since like 2011, maybe 2012. So I was like, I want to see this. And I think it'd be cool to breed, maybe. But I didn't really like it then, and I don't know how I'm going to feel now. But then it's like hard to find Grape Ape or like that Granddaddy Perp, like terp anymore. It's like you can find like grape weed obviously everywhere, and it has like a grape flavor. But both those strains, like, it's not like purple weed now. 10 days, excuse me. Matrix reset in progress. 10 days in pre-stretch, then here and there till last week. Keep buds lit. Then big defoliate pre-chop. Normal stuff. Yeah, see? Matrix, that's like freaking considerate though. You should see these a-hole head growers nowadays. Nobody gives a fuck about like stuff. Like, they'll just be like, we don't do that. Like, some other department does this, or some other, it's like weird in some, like, I think like bad habits that we can get into sometimes when you have a lot of like hands or coworkers, or there's something about like to me, there's this weird confusion that will happen, I think, in like a lot of our careers or lives. I'm just going to use weed because that's what I've done for mine, is like when you want to be a manager or something, is you'll think that like reaching the point of like being able to tell people what to do and not having to like necessarily participate hands-on is like the dream job, or like being a good manager. But the truth is like being a good manager or a good owner is like the people that really never surpass like creating like this like hard working team, is like where you like all want to carry the weight for each other. Like, it's not like put the weight on somebody else, is you all want to like be like, yeah, we're gonna fucking make money together, and yeah, we're gonna do this perfect, and this is gonna be immaculate. And like, you kind of like compete with each other. Like, Rare Dingness, for sure, like we definitely were competing. It was weird. We competed against all these people to get the fucking job, and then you'd think it would like stop at that point, but it was like worse. It's like, and I hate to say that, that's just me being honest, is like everybody was just like, no, dude, I'm gonna like surpass you again. And it's like, when you put like those types of personality types together though, it can either like go, you know, one great direction, or it can go a terrible direction. But I think like honestly, that's one of the best jobs I've ever had as far as people really respecting like what you had put in enough, but then also being like, dude, you do have to like carry your weight and prove yourself every day. Versus like some places, I don't think people in weed have all experienced that and like had certain expectations or like pressures put on them. But then I also think on the flip, a lot of people have way more than like a normal person would ever like see in cannabis or something. Just weird things. Margins, overhead, like weights, yields, passing your testing, like passing inspections, passing just some of these, or like these pest and disease issues I'm always bitching about. Kim Painter, don't you think if you spend that kind of money, you wouldn't just have a permanent staff of like electricians and AC people? Yeah, for reals. Like I think there's a lot of Scott did have like a janitor that was hired in the beginning. The very first one was somebody that was qualified as an electrician, and I thought that that was really smart. It's like it's crazy to say that he was the janitor because he like really wasn't. It's like he was like so skilled, and basically like contractors like that, like in my eyes, like have their degree, like they've like done this for like 10 years, have to take all this tests, all this like shit, and I'm saying that are working in these like types of environments and stuff, really skilled guys, and I don't know, it's just I feel like they don't like the job though. I feel like a lot of people think that weed working in a facility is going to be like so awesome until they have to do like the first transplant of like 600 plants or something. Or I'm just thinking of like a smaller number that's like realistic because they'll be like, you know what, I did like transplanting until this. And or like defoliating is you'll be like, yeah, go defoliate that room. And like I remember those flower rooms we'd have to do in like an afternoon is like our task, you know, and there'd be like 2 of us or 3 of us that would take like a side or like a section of the room, and you'd have to get done in like let's just say realistically like 30 minutes to an hour, like your section. And I don't know, just like it's just different than what people, you can't really just be like chilling smoking a blunt like I'm gonna do this, like I don't know. Edward Dignas, people would try to get you fired for that shit. They would try to get your badge pulled. There's so many people that were jealous and like pissed off at stupid shit. Not just with me, with everybody. Is, yeah, they would try to get you in trouble for like smoking weed though. And they'd like threaten to call the state on you or like threaten to tell Pam and Scott. Just like weird shit. Weird shit. I love fucking shit up. I can relate to that. Disbanded. I like cleaning it up, but sometimes, you know, just making a real big mess. I agree, Kim, but if they only had a 4-person crew for the grow, no money for maintenance. Yeah, it's like weird is when you look at like a $30 million investment into something, people always think like these people are like rolling in the dough, like say they go buy a new car, say they like just like normal shit. Like even like a house or something. It's like that's like pretty normal shit though. Even if you buy like nice shit, it's just like you got all this debt, not necessarily when you're talking about investments, but like I'm just going to say it for what it is. You do have all this debt. You do have like these projections and all these numbers and these phases that you think you're going to make. And like everybody does this. It's like you have the best of intentions and everybody wants it to go great. But there's obstacles with that shit. Delays, city, all kinds of fucking shit. Just money going out. And I think that salaries alone and payroll alone can like consume so much of a person's capital or like budget immediately. And it's like, unless you have rock stars, like really like all these people had to prove themselves at running like multiple facilities before this job. Like you couldn't even like apply if like, I think if you had like no experience, like I don't think this was like the job for you, like, or of interest, or that you could, I don't know. There was a lot of requirements. You had to have your degree. You had to like be like super, I think you had to work like a minimum of 5 commercial gardens that were like above a certain square footage. I can't remember. It was just like shit. And at that point I had already worked at like a lot of facilities, and I had been the head grower for headquarters for years. And like we were doing really good in the state at the time before that. And I think like the clinic, I can't even remember, like Pink House. I had worked with like a few, I mean like a lot of companies before I worked at Rare Dankness. And um, like running multiple facilities and stuff like that. And I think the other people I'd worked with, they like I guess what I'm trying to say is you had to do like you had to multitask. There's a lot of people now that would never do this. Like I'm saying like employees that I've even worked with that would be like, you want me to do what? And like how fast and like all that stuff. Where versus like I think you could swing a small person's staff because we all wanted it so bad. You know, you were like, I can do the job of like 4 people. Like and I think it's smart on Scott's behalf because I think that we were all like really like that. I think we did a lot. I think we did a lot for being small. But then the grandiose scale of everything though, running at full scale operation is 350 employees. And so you have to grow into that when you're like phasing into these facilities because they are so large. It takes like 6 to 9 months to even get a perpetual cycle, like a full facility of that even begin minimally. And that's with like out shit going awry, like I said. And so I don't know. I think it would be smarter though. Like I will say my fantasy's always been owning my own grow because I would rather pay for that person, like what you're saying, like a licensed plumber or electrician, than a normal, like just like if I could choose. I remember you doing your resume for Dank, you and Den working on it. That's so funny, Boom. That's so sweet. I give it to my parents. My parents were not like the biggest fans of me doing weed for a long time. They like absolutely hated it in the beginning for years. Like, and then by the time we were dating this, that was the first time that like Scott is from like Lyons, not Lyons, but Pinewood, which is really close to Lyons, and everybody knew him in town, and we have a lot of the same friends, all these things. And so I feel like they were like, okay, he's from Lyons, like you guys are gonna do this big. This is the biggest spot, like this is real now. I don't know. It seemed like that. Oh, but it's just funny that Boom remembers my dad and me. Because I was like, Dad, I really need your help. You got to reread this. You got to tell me the truth. Like, I can't fuck this up. When I say it take me hours for these emails and things, oh, it was just such a high pressure. I bet I could find, like, the descriptions of, yeah. It's just, shout out to Med. No, just kidding. Or the MED, sorry. Yeah, we love those guys. Oh. Let's see. I got a big, let me see. Come as you are. Tark, it has been so long since I've seen you. I hope that you are doing so good with the fam. I really have missed you. Had a busy evening with the kids in sports, but wanted to pop in and say what's up. We'll return. Really appreciate you, Tark. Sorry I can't talk tonight either. I hope the show isn't completely devastating for you to watch. Even call it weed speed. Good managers will always do the same job you ask an employee. Trust me, you get respect and teach them as a team. Yeah, that's the thing is like whenever I do consulting, I've always been told like even like management is like I've always had like staffs actually like bitch about me like making them work too hard. I'm not making this up. Like really like being like they probably hate me. Like you probably actually ask like a lot of people that actually have worked for me and they probably I don't know, don't feel like, ooh, she's the funnest. I feel like there's this thing that like I personally get off by like walking into a space and knowing that there's nothing that a person can bitch at you for. Like this sounds like such a such a nice deep thing, but the truth is like you just want to be able to walk into a space and like everybody feel relaxed and that energy I really believe we've talked about but like carries through your plants and like the more that I really feel like the reason that plants go awry sometimes and like these diseases and bugs and all this shit is like when I look at how everybody's feeling around there. How am I feeling? Like sometimes we treat our plants like shit when we're like doing it to ourselves. Like or our like life is a little chaotic or we're not getting enough sleep or some of these other things like really reflect in a garden. And so it's like I think that when you have to work really, really hard for something is like to get that job was a lot of work is and like not letting that sparkle go away when you got the job, like almost having to like be like, no, now I really got to do it. And like, I feel like there's a lot of people that have worked like with me in the past that good and bad, where like you see people that they're willing to like snake everybody out of anything. Like they're like the dirty hustler, they're like the sly guy, they're like the shithead in the garden. Like I don't know how else to like put this, but it's like those people like fit. I like never believed in karma until I saw the weed industry, and I was like, damn. Maybe it's not even the weed industry. It's just like how it flushes out people. And anyways, I think when you're relaxed and you actually put your love into these plants, is I think that they actually do give it back to you. That's why it's hard for me to say like hydro versus soil or all these different things. It's like there's really a time and a place to use all the methods, I think, and all the different approaches. It sounds weird, but once you really get into all of them, like you actually enjoy them. And I think you do diversify yourself into like, oh, I'm going to put my OGs in soil, and I'm going to put my like new strains like these dulces and like all this other like just new shit like candy fumes, any of that stuff. I'm going to put that in hydro. Like it really thrives in this environment. But like ghost train, some of these like huge hazes and shit, like you can't really like put in hydro. I mean, you can, but Scott's doing it there, but you have to keep, you know, you're like flipping so young because they get so tall. Like, I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sorry, guys. You passed out my post. Damn it, Big Bag Johns. Hold on. Let me find you. We call it weed speed. Is that the one? Did I miss something else? Let me go back up. Oh, I am so sorry. What do you think about a plant grown in the same place for 30 years? It has never been fucked with genetically. So the thing is like, it depends on the space that it's been grown in for 30 years. I think that the time factor only immediately in my thoughts is like, okay, what does time do? Time only gives you a decline because of all these other exposures potentially that happens within that time frame. So like, are you exposed to spider mites and root aphids and russet mites? And is it really cold? Is it really hot? Is it a rainy summer? Is it a dry ass winter? Is it a really wet winter? It's just hard because it's like shit changes so fucking much with growing. And we all know this. Like I feel like for real, it's like where it's just like you will harvest in the driest state ever. Let's just use Arizona. And then like, let's just say you get a monsoon season right when your room falls on this harvest and you have these full plants hanging and it's just like wet as fuck and everything's ruined. So same spot, 30 years, sorry, is I think that if it got exposed to any of these like detrimental things, yeah, I think it would decline. I think it would decline genetically because I think that it's just been exposed to these detrimental things. Do I think that you could take the same cut off of that sick 30-year-old plant and still fix it though and get it to genetically restore without tissue culture? Yes. But I also think that it's rare that things build resilience in today's like world. I mean, I hate to say this, but like if you look at like just what's happening with like the ice melting and like environmental shit just going awry everywhere all the time, I guess. Like some people believe in it, some people don't, but like it just seems like global warming is kind of proof that like things changing in the environment causes this detriment to like the health of things surviving or thriving. But then if things actually stay good, then it's like, it's perfect. You know, it could be perfect. So it's hard for me to answer this because I do fix plants. So it's like, I don't believe in like actual like loss of genetics, like degradation of something to the point that you can't fix it again. I believe if you like look at it, it will show that this is like genetically been changed only because climate and all of those things are going to make the plant react differently to like hormonally. It's not just hormonally, but those hormones are things that do set off like no different than a person, like this fight or flight mode, you know, like for reals. It's like they set off these things like the HLVD. And if you have Or fusarium is like if you have these things dormant sitting in your plant, it's not saying that your genetics are unhealthy or this plant is unhealthy. People don't understand that yet. It's like it's being it being present is not, it's not the problem. It's like those factors that come from this decline of just normal shit happening is really what I guess like amplifies all this other destruction to the actual genetics themselves over time. I probably didn't answer that at all right. This is the hard part too when I'm smoking. I just haven't been feeling right. I just haven't been feeling right in the head. Okay? Do you guys ever feel a little cloudy? But like, it could be my sinuses. It's been a little pollinated lately out in the world. How have you guys been feeling? Just makes my brain a little fuzzy. I've lost like everything I wanted to say tonight. It's the words themselves. But I feel like my listeners are used to that. I'm working on it, guys. I'll smoke less. But thank you for asking me that question. I wish I could answer this better. It makes me think of micro propagation with like tissue culture again, because the second you put that bad boy in a tube and you give it everything it needs as far as this like feed and I know and climate, then I feel like it can restore in the tissue culture tube. But then it's like the second that you put it like in a compromised environment again, that tissue cultured plant is still going to decline if you put it in another contaminated environment. So I don't know if that would be like the same. I don't have a staff because I trust no one. Yeah. Disbanded. Holy shit. Is this a real problem? Like, it's actually sad that it's like a true thing. It's like, that's really why you can't have people anymore. It's like, that's real sad to say, but like, it's not like even financially anymore. I think it's just all of it. I think we had like a refreshing reminder of that last October. And I think that there's just like shitty people in this. So the tighter you can keep it, the better it is for everybody. But then at the same time, you guys are my fam. I gave a girl pink eye before. Jesus, disbanded. I like to be universal. That's right. Your power bill will tell you when it's enough. Yeah, like power bills at places like that. Oh my gosh, Rusty Nails, it's so good to see you. It's been a minute. I think different styles are different goals, not different plans. If you are selling, you can write off expenses. A home head stash grower can't. Different styles with different goals. Yeah, that's definitely very true. I think an overall goal though is I've never heard anybody be like, I'm gonna grow the shittiest weed ever. It's like I've only heard people be like, I'm gonna grow the most fire shit ever. But maybe there's a different goal. Some people, I guess you're right, are just like, I need shit that finishes in 8 weeks. It's weird, but it's true. 8 weeks, and that is just like a dumper, and they don't give a shit about anything else. So I guess there's a lot of other things, yeah. If you're selling, you can write off expenses. A home head stash grower can't. Well, you see, you can't do that, really. I think if you're good with like tax shit in general, I think you'll figure out ways. But I think that no, it's like that's the whole thing with that might be progressive, with federal. Like, or whatever, all these changes that might go down, might not, it doesn't matter, is I feel like, to me, it really, it does, but I'm a little sensitive still, is I think the biggest benefit would be the financial side, because of like loans and being able to write off things. But technically in Colorado, like you can't write off anything weed related. Like you can't write off your staff. You can't write off like anything. Actually, you really actually can't. If you own a business that's cannabis specific related, which to be licensed in Colorado, you have to disclose that you are. It's just, but just like everything. But a home grower, I feel like you're absolutely right though, is like, how are you going to, I would just say the same shit though. I'd just be like, dude, I'm a wood artist. I got my shit in my garage. It's expensive. This is my wood LLC, you know? Aren't you supposed to move a plant because of off the soil? That's awesome if had lived that long. Oh, I feel like You could definitely keep a weed plant alive for 30 years. I guess just like, that would be like, probably, we should try in your backyard, boom. You got a nice environment for it. Buying the testing equipment, bottles, new cocoa, etc. doesn't make sense when you can get a warm bin and primo stack of seeds, genetics, or clones and get a better end product. I mean, I see like, the thing is totally different though. Like totally different. Is I've grown with worms and all of the like living things inside, and it's not that it's bad. It's really not, but it is just Rusty, if you saw our heavy metal testing and some of the obstacles with like bugs and shit inside, I don't know if you'd feel that way. Like, or like these transplanting like obstacles, like it's not like trying to, it's like where you can store the soil, like how you can sanitize these soils, like where you can store the warm bins, like these are just things that like make it tough sometimes to be able to. I just see the pros and cons. I do see what you're saying though. I bet your weed tastes fire. I will say that. Cocoa by itself isn't renewable. I'm not like really into like reusing shit. Again, this goes back to commercial though, and inside it's like different is, I'm saying different in the way of like, there's like so much shit going on all the time. Like somebody's like growing at their house, or like something got overwatered, or something flooded, or I don't know. It's like, it just, face blue smiling. Oh, old school. Kim Major, that plant has to be happy if you're taking off the soil. Happy plants bring happy life. It was when I use it in my warm bedding. LOL. Okay, that like, yes. I feel like, yes. Pardon the Dank show. Hello. I meant over and over again. I know, I just say that you really can't do it disbanded if you're like, have a dirty, I grow and breed for mids. I don't mean taxes. Guys, don't hate me. Jesus. Oh. 2280E IRS. Thank you, pardon the Dank show. Some people can't smoke the fire weed. Older folks like old school. Honestly, I've always wanted to like breed and push that. Like, I'm really excited about us getting the store. I know Jason's not going to be crazy about this idea, but I'm like, I really want to promote lower testing weed, because the truth is I smoke a fuck ton of weed. Like, I mean, like a lot more than people think or like need to know. It's like, I think that most of the time I need to be smoking or like high-ish or whatever. So I can't be like smoking for reals. It's like sometimes in the morning I really do like these strains like Jack Herrera and Durban, and I like am confident enough as a person and grower now to admit that I like sativa leaning strains. And you guys are gonna go off that I even say sativa now, I guess. But they just they give you that little pep in your step with your coffee, and you're like, I'm ready. But then I've always been an OG girl, like always and forever, and still always will. But the truth is like I can't be like smoking no 33s over here for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day, every day, and like trying to be like a grown ass woman. Like, it's already hard as it is. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we need some lower testing stuff, and I want to promote it and have our bud tenders like really talk about how it's like good though. Like Golden Goat is fucking awesome. Shit like averages like 17 to 22%. Has all these other like different cannabinoids, like a splash of like cool shit here and there. But like the effects are a lot more like euphoric and like a lot more energetic without like that racy But I don't think a lot of people will give it a chance because they're like 17%. I'm like, dude, bring that over here. Same with like the Z, like the Skittles or whatever. It's like, it doesn't, like the average testing samples, like even from 710 and stuff is like 15% to like 18. Super low. I'm saying like in comparison to whatever, 30%, 40% strains, 25% on the low end of people now. And these strains like taste phenomenal. Get you super high. Like, okay, I can't say like super high. Get you like the right high. Just get you the right high. And then you can keep smoking. If you want to get more high, you just like keep smoking it. I think it works. I really do. You can't invent fire. Oh, some people can't smoke the fire weed big. If you think old school weed wasn't great, where do you think today's weed came from? You can't invent fire. Heavy metal testing should include Judas Priest. Al Gore invented the internet. Chad Westport, thank you so much for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is the truth. It's like compliance bullshit makes you have different approaches. Like bacillus and organic growing, like has gotten very, very difficult in the last 7 years because of the like I used to definitely grow commercial scale living soil everywhere and like crush with it. Love it. Fucking still love it. But and like with compost teas and all the things, but the thing is they've just changed things piece by piece that like you're just like, well shit, dude, like you guys want us to use like all these like pre-bottled nutrients basically, like products, like everything does have to be EPA certified and like you can't use essential oils and you can't use bacillus, like the strains you want, and you can't like it's just you can't use compost teas because you can't mix it yourself. You gotta buy a compost tea and you're just like, what in the fuck? I guess I'll go buy some calcium nitrate now. Like, you know, why was Dave from Tad so jealous of you? Was Adam his BF? That's hilarious. Thank you, Disbanded. Oh, I just really appreciate you guys so much. I hoped you would rescue. Oh, Chad Westport, you guys are just all amazing. Time to take off my pants and get comfy. Yeah, but I run my own, make my own cash, doing something I'm passionate about. It is abundance. Thank you, Matrix. Yeah, I feel now she gets it. A lot more people need to know. LOL. Chad, there was something about potato too. Okay, I can't read all these on here. Maybe I can. Oh, finally catching you live. Oh, Nata Studios, thank you so much. Wake and bake at 6 a.m. in Switzerland. Oh my God. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. It's so cool to hear that you're listening from Switzerland, for reals. You should tell us how it is over there. What's going on with your day right now? 6 a.m. Good morning. Well, I feel like Guerrero Groves, it's been a minute. How are you doing? You got some outdoor I know going on. At least you usually do this time of year. So what's going down in your garden? I was thinking about doing some like cool pheno hunt to like just like switch it up. But I don't even know what I want to do, honestly. I was like, takes so long. Takes so like not the pheno hunt, but like back crossing everything again and then tasting like do you guys have any suggestions? I'm trying to find I-95. I used to have it. I sold it to a couple of my customers, but I can't find it again. And I thought I could. So if I sold it to anybody, I would love to buy it back from you. So I think, yeah. Also, I'm going to have a strain list. That's a new strain list out this week. I'm really apologize because I have been like so delayed, but we really have just been like slammed. And I'm going to get back to all and everybody this week. And I will definitely cut you a good deal for listening to the Treat Show if you let me know in the DMs or like hit me up on the website, on the Seed Bazaar website. You'll see the tree consulting page. And yes, you just let me know. Right now, do not purchase clones on the website. Just Venmo or Cash App me. The website's like messing up. So, I mean, our merchant account, it's just like, you know, this is like what I'm talking about with the financials of weed. Anyways, I hope that you guys really like enjoyed something tonight. I'm sorry if it wasn't the greatest show. I'll try to find my actual personal pictures and see if I talk to Scott and see if he doesn't mind if I like post some stuff. But I think you get the gist though. If you guys have any specific questions, just let me know in the chat below, comments. I'm hoping to get more likes and I'm hoping to get more comments soon. Not that you guys aren't phenomenal, but I feel like it would be cool if I could go for like some awesome actual podcast traction. That's my goal. Okay. It's my goal before 710, guys, that we can get to like something cool. I don't even know what it is, but like something. I think I have 600 subscribers on here now. Thank you guys. So I think that what if we could get to 700? It might be cool. It might be cool. What if we could get like more than 50 likes? Who knows? Okay, guys, you just hang in there. And I promise the next show we have a special guest coming on our next show. Actually, we have a couple of good shows coming up. But you guys let me know if you think anything would be awesome to check out on The Treat Show. I hope you have a lovely evening. Peace and love. And thank you so much for listening. Good night.